What we're going to do now is go into a few of the do's and don'ts relative to implementing a deconstructed PACS. When I look at Mike's presentation, which was excellent, by the way, 6 words come to mind: plan your work and work your plan. And those are the things that are absolutely crucial to making this happen. It's interesting. I just did an article. It's actually live this month in Imaging Technology News that was on a point counterpoint about deconstructed PACS. And it was interesting. I was asked to do the counterpoint to it, and my counterpoint wasn't a counterpoint at all. It was actually a point. All that it went ahead and said is that that deconstructed PACS have been around for a long time. And when you look at it, dictation systems, CDs, 3Ds, a lot of the items that Michael addressed in his prequel have been around for a while. VNAs have been really implemented strongly over the past 5 or 6 years. So the basis is know your requirements, know what you want versus what you need. If you looked at Mike's presentation and understood a lot of what he said in his presentation, the planning for this thing started several years out. Actually, the financing for it, they had the money for it in 2012 and didn't actually do the full implementation until 2012, 2014, 2015. So go ahead and make sure that you address your wants versus your needs. Do you have a solution in place that already works? You're not going to go ahead and throw out the baby with the bathwater. If your PACS currently works now, then by all means go ahead and keep the PACS in place. However, if your hardware is expiring, if you need new software updates, now's the time, or you're going to need it in the next year or two, now's the time to start planning for it. You've got to look at where a deconstructed PACS solution fits in your long-term strategy. And you've also got to look at all the other clinical systems, the integration with those other clinical systems, what it's going to take on both parties. What else is it going to need to make it work? Do you need a RIS? Do you need an interface engine? Do you need the PACS? And then most importantly, where is the data stored? A VNA unquestionably is going to be the first thing that you probably should consider implementing when you're going to go ahead and do a deconstructed PACS. So you need to know, is it on-site in hardware? Is it in the cloud? Is it a hybrid solution, a combination of on-site and cloud? Who owns the database is crucial. Most vendors, matter of fact, all vendors won't let you touch the database, but you need to have access to the database. And you need to also look at the RTO and the RPO, the objectives in terms of getting the data back into the system. You also need to know the trade-offs. There is no such thing as all positives and no negatives. With everything, it's just like with software updates. You may have an update that gives you 5 new features, but takes away 3 features that you had in the past. So know the trade-offs that you're going to be looking at in a deconstructed PACS situation. All right, let's go ahead and move forward to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, know what the true cost is. True cost is really crucial. The problems that you have is in looking at it sort of like having a child. What the true cost is, birthing the baby is the cheapest part of having a kid. It's the cost that you have for the next 20, 30, 40 years until the child leaves home. So look at the total cost, the internal cost especially. The car without tires is what I use. Look at what your savings are in your cost. Make sure that you've got redundancy built in there. Central versus distributed architectures, for example. And service is going to be crucial. 90% of your service is going to be conducted internally by internal people. When you look at some of the deconstructed PACS, as Herman alluded to, we're talking about probably 2 to 3% of all PACS out there are deconstructed PACS. 90% of that service is done internally. So you have to have the resources, the depth and breadth of resources, internal resources, IT within radiology, within network, within security. Those are crucial. If you don't have those resources, you're going to go ahead and have a problem. external resources come from the parties that are putting the systems together, but most of those are going to be for updates and upgrades. You're not going to need the third-party vendor for a lot. Most of your stuff is going to be done internally. When you look at the systems that are being done right now, the vast majority of the distributed deconstructed PACS that are out there are larger systems, two which have recently gone ahead and been brought to our attention have been Mayo Clinic and Mercy Health, for example. Large enterprises, big systems, a huge amount of depth and breadth of resources to go ahead and make this happen. Don't buy on price alone. Deconstructed PACS will cost you more than a turnkey PACS solution from a vendor. There's no question there, but no vendor is ever going to lose a deal on price. So don't worry about price, and make sure everything is included in the purchase price, the professional services, the integration charges, the training, the testing, things of that sort. Don't buy something you don't really need. Again, plan your work, then work your plan. Make sure that you have everything outlined what you need to do. A perfect example of it, I love the concept of zero footprint viewers, but the reality is, or medical image sharing and things of that sort. With medical image sharing is a wonderful, wonderful solution. However, if you already have a web viewer in your system, do you really need medical image sharing at this point in time? You need to evaluate that. And then who will perform the connectivity to the systems, and how will it be done? Will it be an interface engine? Will it be HL7? Will it be an API? Will it be other? We've made tremendous strides in terms of industry connectivity in the past years due to groups like DICOM and HL7 and IHE and others. So we just need to continue that. Get as much in writing as you can. Recognize the fact that not everything can be negotiated. Probably 85 to 90% of what is in the vendor contract is etched in stone, will not be changed. So recognize you're going to have to go ahead and put that in the contract as an addendum. Make sure you get feedback from all the stakeholders before you make a purchasing decision. This is not a radiology solution. This is not an IT solution. This is an enterprise solution, and you need to make sure you get everybody involved. It needs to be the radiology department, the IT department, the chief information officer, chief technology officer. Everyone from the CEO on down has to sign off on this, because there's so much, even the chief security officer relative to HIPAA and accessibility. Do your due diligence and be able to justify your purchase. You can't just go to people and say, hey, we've got ahead, we're going to go ahead and do a deconstructed PACS. You need to be able to justify the purchase, so get your people. And last but not least, look at all the finance options. Capital budgets really don't exist anymore, and if they do, you're looking 2, 3, 4 years out before you can actually get the amount of funds that you need. So look at using operating budget as opposed to capital budget or per click. But whatever you do, budget things with a 5-year plan of purchase. Don't go beyond 5 years. Don't go 7, 10, even though some of the hardware may last that long.